So you're on mute.
Yeah. So yesterday we have seen the terminating criteria. So that depends on the error tolerance called epsilon. As the iterative methods may not give us always the exact solution within a finite number of iterations. To get the exact solution, we may need to do the iteration infinitely many times, but we do not have that much time to do iterations infinitely many times. So obviously there should be some criteria. So which gives us, yes, this is the point, this is the place, this is the situation where we can stop the iteration process. That is given by the error tolerance. So as it is mentioned earlier in the last section, how to calculate the error tolerance? Error tolerance should be, see, for each xk plus 1 at every iteration, we are going to find out all the values for the approximate solutions for each and every variable. So the approximate solution at xk plus 1, it is basically a set of n values. For each variable, we need to evaluate. And similarly, at the k minus 1 also, we need to evaluate for all the variables. So the criteria is something like, so the difference between the absolute difference between the absolute difference between the value set kth iteration and the k minus 1th iteration means that's previous iteration. It should be less than epsilon and it should happen for all the variables. It should happen for all the n number of variables. Then, which basically means that I will be okay with this error. I will be okay with this error. Okay, I can bear this error for my practical problem. I don't have much issue with that, with this error. So then we can stop the iteration and that can be given as an approximate solution with the error tolerance epsilon. Okay. So that is about the iteration. Yeah, that is about the iterative methods. Now, one more thing, as you keep on doing this number of iterations, as the number of iterations increase, means as the k is approaching to infinity, so what is going to happen to the set of solutions? So for different h, which will be defined through the coefficient metric A, we will have different methods. Okay. So now what will happen as the number of iterations increase, whether these iterations, the approximate solutions will converge to some solution or not. If it converges to some solution, then that will become the unique solution for the particular system. And we will say that the method converges for that particular system. Whatever the method we are dealing, then we can say that method converges for that particular system. And suppose if this sequence of approximate solutions does not converge to any point, then we will say that the method does not converge for that system. Now, who will decide? Who will decide the sequence of iteration, the sequence of approximate solutions actually converges? Who will decide? It is something called spectral radius of a metric, generally represented with the rho of h. Rho of h. So this is what spectral radius is actually the maximum of the absolute values of the eigenvalues. H is a metric of order n by n, square metric. So you can evaluate the eigenvalues and the magnitude of the eigenvalues, the maximum of the magnitude of the eigenvalues must be strictly less than 1. Then what will happen? Then this will imply that the whatever the iterative method is there, that iterative method will definitely converge for that particular system. It is in fact if and only if the iterative method converges, then you can say that the metric actually the spectral radius is strictly less than 1. Okay, and if it converges, in what rate it converges? So that is given by the formula. Rate of convergence is defined as negative of the logarithm of the spectral radius to the base 10. Okay. So now we are going to interested in two iteration methods. That's one is particularly called the Gauss-Jacobian method, Gauss-Jacobi method. So before and Gauss-Seidel method. So Gauss-Jacobi method means what? Gauss-Jacobi method. So before starting the Gauss-Jacobi method, you need to understand that any square metric can be written as a sum of three matrices. They are nothing but strictly lower triangular metric, diagonal metric, and the strictly upper triangular metric. L plus D plus U. Okay, any addition, not as in multiplication. Multiplication we have already done in the LU factorization. Okay, we don't need to do much actually. We need to diagonal entries, make all the extract all the diagonal entries and write it as a diagonal one, and write the metric consisting of all the elements below the diagonal entry, below the principal diagonal. That will become the strictly lower triangular metric, and the other part is nothing but the strictly upper triangular metric. Strictly upper triangular, strictly lower triangular means all the diagonal entries are 0. Remember. Okay. It can be done for any square metric of order n. It can always be done. Okay. But now that we are interested in something called Gauss-Jacobi iteration method and how it is going to what is the process and what is an algorithm, we will see it now. So assume that Ax is equal to B, that is a given system of linear equation, square system of course. As we have just discussed, any square metric of order A can be rewritten in terms of sum of strictly lower triangular, diagonal metric, and the strictly upper triangular metric. So the process of Gauss-Jacobi method will keep the diagonal d times x this side and the remaining things to the other side. Minus L plus U times x plus b. What is L plus U? L plus U is exactly same as A, but in A, what you need to do, all the diagonal entries are 0. You make all the diagonal entries as 0, intermediate things are as it is. And then multiply both the sides with D inverse, but this is the point you need to check. What is this one? We are multiplying both the sides with D inverse. D inverse what? D is a diagonal metric. So D inverse must exist. D inverse must exist means the determinant of the diagonal metric should not be 0. It should be a non-zero number. What is the determinant of the diagonal metric? It is the product of the diagonal elements. And the diagonal elements are nothing but the diagonal elements of the given coefficient metric itself. And hence, in the coefficient metric, before applying the Gauss-Jacobi method, Gauss-Jacobi iteration method, it is our basic verification that all the diagonal entries are non-zero. If it is 0, if one of the diagonal entry is 0, then what we should make it? If there is any possibility, then we should rearrange the terms, rearrange the equations so that all the diagonal entries will be non-zero. Okay. Now, so this is the basic idea. Now, with the help of this one, we are defining the iteration, and the iteration is the k plus 1th iteration. The k plus 1th approximate solutions will be evaluated using the same formula minus D inverse times L plus U times kth approximate solution plus D inverse times P. Right? So So according to the iteration method, so this is what, this is the H and this is the constant metric C. So initially we will be starting with some X naught. X naught basically means it will be having X naught 1, X naught 2 and so on, X naught n. It is assumed to be the initial guess. Initial guess. Okay. So we will substitute it here and we will find out the first approximation. And again, we will substitute the first approximation, we will get the second approximation. We will substitute the second approximation, we will get the third approximation. So this is how we need to continue. This is how we need to continue this. Now here, okay, but what basically we are doing here, okay, for K, okay. So let us say that in the particular problem we have n variables. So for the first variable, K plus K iteration value is 1, xk 1. It is represented with the xk 1. And for the second variable, xk 2. And so on for the xk n. So this entire thing is basically represented with the capital X prefix K. Kth approximate solutions. Okay, fine. So for K is equal to 0, that is the initial guess, we have the initial guess. Initial guess is there. Now what we need to find out? We need to find out the first approximate solution. Okay, with the help of the initial guess, we will evaluate what is the first approximate solution. And for K is equal to 2, we will get the second approximate solution. And for K is equal to 3, we will get the third approximate solution and so on. This will continue. This will continue. Now, the problem is when to stop this process. What is the criteria for this process? So the criteria for this process is given as, that depends on the problem. If I ask, if someone asks, what is the approximate, if the with the initial guess, some particular value, what is the fifth approximate solution? So once you reach the fifth approximate solution, we can stop it. So there the error tolerance is not there, not given. But if the error tolerance is given, epsilon is equal to some 10 to the power minus 3. Epsilon is equal to some 10 to the power minus 3. Then we should verify, right? What we should verify? So that is what is called. So another set of columns will come. So that is EK1, EK2, and so on, EKN. Okay. So now how to do this one? For K is equal to 1, there is no error values. Why? Because that is the initial guess, that is the starting point. To make the difference, to find the difference, at least we should have two solutions, right? So this is the approximate solution, we have guessed solution. And once you finish the first iteration, you will get some set of values here. So there is a now you can check find the errors. How to find the errors? The error EK1 means absolute difference between these two entries. So that will be mentioned here. And for X2, the absolute difference between these two. Absolute difference only. Okay. And for Xn, similarly, we need to do it for all the variables. Now the condition is we need to check this should be less than epsilon. This should also be less than epsilon. And all the errors should be less than epsilon. If everything is less than epsilon, we can stop it. No need to proceed for the second iteration. Okay. Suppose if at least one of them, say this one, is bigger than epsilon, the error is bigger than the tolerance, then we have to. Whatever remaining things may be less than epsilon, but if there is at least one error which is bigger than the tolerance, then we have to proceed for the second step, second iteration. So once the second iteration is also done, then again we need to evaluate what is the error. So that is that absolute difference between this one and its previous one, not with the starting one, initial one, and this one with this one, and this difference and this difference. So evaluate again. Once it is evaluated, again you need to check whether everything is less than epsilon or not. If everything is less than epsilon, stop. If there is at least one value which is bigger than epsilon, one error which is bigger than the tolerance, we need to go for the next iteration. So this is how we need to continue till all the errors becomes strictly less than the epsilon. Okay, so that is the criteria for the, that is the procedure for the Gauss-Jacobi iteration method. Okay, so now what we will do, we will quickly solve one problem. So everyone make your calculators ready. So the exercise is solve the system of equations using the Gauss-Jacobi iteration method for the system 5 times x1 plus minus 2x2, 5 times x1 minus 2x2 plus 3x3 is equal to minus 1, and minus 3 times x1 plus 9 times x2 plus x3 is equal to 2, and 2 times x1 minus x2 minus 7 times x3 is equal to 3. Okay, is equal to 3. So as we said, as we have already discussed, we must have some initial guess, right? So let us start with the initial guess as very simple one, 0 comma 0 comma 0. How many variables are? 3 variables are there. It is a square, 3 equations are given, square system. So the iteration method can be applied. And not only that one, we need to check one more thing. What is that? Once while writing the AX is equal to B, the equations order you can change it. That is the interchange of equations. Secondly, it is not necessary that second equation should be second. You write as a second, and a third equation given as a third. It's not necessary. Okay. First thing you check. Suppose if you write the coefficient metric in the coefficient metric, whether all the diagonal entries are non-zero or not. Yes, of course they are non-zero. They are non-zero. So if you write it in the metric form, then what you will get here? 5 minus 2, 3 minus 3, 9, 1, and 2 minus 1 minus 7. And of course, B is the constant metric minus 1, 2, 3. As you can see, the diagonal entries of the coefficient metric are all of them are non-zero. So ai is non-zero for all I is equal to 1, 2, 3. Then we can proceed it. So what is the so as you have to split this metric as L plus D plus U times X is equal to B, the lower triangular, diagonal, upper triangular strictly. And then what is the criteria? What is the iteration? Xk plus 1 iteration is given by minus D inverse times L plus U times kth iteration values plus D inverse times B. So in the metric form, what we will get? X k plus 1 iteration for one first variable, x k plus 1 iteration for second variable, x k plus 1 iteration for third variable can be evaluated minus what is D inverse? What is the diagonal entry? 5, 9, minus 7. 5, 9, minus 7. So what is the inverse? Inverse is 1 by 5, 0, 0, 0, 1 by 9, 0, 0, 0. Is it minus 9? Huh? No, 5, 9, minus 7. So it is minus 1 by 7. This is D inverse. Now what about L plus U? L plus U is 0, minus 2, 3, minus 3, 0, 1, 2, minus 1, 0. And then kth iteration values, that is xk first variable, kth iteration value of second variable, kth iteration value of third variable, plus not at over D inverse times B. One should not forget this one. minus 1 to 3. Is it right? Minus 1 to 3. Right. So what about the D inverse again? Minus 1 by 5, 0, 0, 0, 1 by 9, 0, 0, 0, minus 1 by 7. Okay. So this is the basic formula. Now you can, as you can see that this one and this one you can directly evaluate, keep it ready. And this one and this one also you can directly evaluate and keep it ready. Now we are going to start with K. And then I have xk for the first variable, kth iteration value for the second variable, and the kth iteration value for the third variable. And then I have the error at the kth iteration for first variable, error at the kth iteration for second variable, and error at the kth iteration for third variable. Okay. So far, error tolerance is not given. K is equal to 0 represents the initial guess. Initial guess is given to be 0, 0, 0. And for K is equal to 1, we need to evaluate. What we need to have, how to evaluate? To evaluate using the previous formula only. Using this one. Substitute 0, 0, 0 here. Then what you will get here? This thing is for K runs from 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Then what is the first values? Now use your calculators and give me the first iteration, first iterative approximate solution. All of you, please. All of you find the successive iterations, K is equal to 1, 2, 3, and so on. And whoever evaluated, just give me the answer in the chat box. Not received any solution, any iteration. What is the first approximation value? Can anyone give the first approximation value? Minus 1 by 7, 1 by 2, minus 3 by 7. No, Amit, that's not correct. That's not the correct one. Minus 1 by 5, 2 by 9, minus 3 by 7. Yes, this is correct. Minus 1 by 5. Let me write it here. So minus 1 by 5, 2 by 9, 3 by 7. I think minus, it should be minus 3 by 7, right? Yeah. It is minus 3 by 7. Okay. So once the first iteration is done, now what you need to check? You need to check the difference. So the absolute difference is 1 by 5, absolute difference is 2 by 9, absolute difference is 3 by 7. Suppose assume that I have given epsilon is equal to 10 to the power minus 2, that is 0 0.01. Okay. Is it less than 0.01? No. Is it less than? So it is already not less than 0.01. So we need to proceed for the second step, second iteration. Now give me the what is the second iteration? What is the second iteration? This much time, everyone is using calculators also, right? What is the second iteration value? Okay, fine. Then you do this exercise, you complete this exercise later. Now let us see what actually going inside in the process. In the process, the Gauss-Jacobi method, though we have explained, I have explained in the metric form. metric form, it can also be expressed using its algebraic equations itself, the system itself. For example, a11 times x1 plus a12 times x2 plus and so on plus a1n times xn is equal to b1. a21 times x1 plus a22 times x2 plus and so on plus a2n xn is equal to b2. And similarly, we have n equation. So an1 x1 plus an2 x2 plus and so on plus an xn is equal to b. So n equations are given in n variables. Now the first thing is the very first step. What you need to do is step one. Step one is rearrange the system. Rearrange the system so that ai is non-zero for all I. Which means in the first equation, the coefficient of the first variable should not be 0. And in the second equation, the coefficient of the second variable should not be 0. And in the nth equation, the coefficient of the nth variable should not be 0. Okay. Now the Gauss-Jacobi method, what actually it does, for finding the approximate solution of the first variable, it uses the first equation. And for the second variable, it uses the second equation. And for the for the nth variable, it uses the nth equation. Repeating again, we need to evaluate the approximate solution for all the variables x1, x2, x3, and so on, xn. So to find the approximate solution of x1, we are going to use the first equation. And to find the approximate solution for the x2, we are going to use the second equation. And to find the approximate solution of xn, we are going to use the nth solution, nth equation. So using the first equation, what we can write? We can write it as a11 is equal to b1 minus the remaining all the things, right? a11 x1, you keep this one here, and remaining all the things you take to the other side. You take them to the other side. That is a12 times x2 plus a13 times x3 plus and so on a1n times xn. Now you also divide with a11, so that is the division should be done. So that is the reason we need to check the diagonal entry should be non-zero. So what you will get 1 upon a11 minus times a12 times x2 plus a13 times x3 plus and so on plus a1n times xn plus b1 upon a11. b1 upon a11. Now, so similarly for x2 also we are doing the same thing. For x2, what you need to do? 1 upon it will be a22 times a21 times x1, except the x2 variable, remaining all variables will be there in the right hand side. x22 will be there, x2 will not be there. So a23 times x3 plus and so on plus a2n times xn plus b2 upon a22. Similarly, for the nth variable, we are going to use the nth equation. So that will be given by minus 1 upon a(n) times a(n1) times x1 plus a(n2) times x2 plus and so on plus a(n) minus 1 times xn minus 1 plus bn upon ann. It is b2. Okay. Now in the iteration process, what actually we are doing? So in the iteration process means, so this is x. Now this is what we call the x. In fact, we will call it as the xk plus 1. If you write the right hand side part in the metric form, that is what we will get, minus d inverse times L plus u times x. That is what you will get it. And plus d inverse times b. D inverse times b, that is what you will get it here for the constant. Now what actually Gauss-Jacobi method does, in one iteration, in one iteration, it evaluates all the approximate solutions for all the variables. First thing, it evaluates approximate solution for all the variables. Okay. And in the next step, means in the next iteration, in the k plus 1 iteration, all in the k plus 1 iteration will be evaluated using approximate solutions in kth iteration. Like, for example, see, suppose if you want to evaluate xk for some particular k plus 1 iteration, before that we should know x2 in kth iteration, x3 in kth iteration, xn in kth iteration. All of them must be known. Now there is no problem for x1, but assume that we are working for the k plus 1th iteration and we are evaluating the x2 value, that is x k plus 1 for the second variable. Now in this one, what it is actually, we need to use the kth iteration values only on the right hand side. But remember, if you look at the first coordinate here, what is the first one? X kth iteration for the first variable. But in the previous step itself, we have already evaluated x k plus 1 for the first variable. Even though we have already evaluated, we still use the value from the previous iteration. x3, anyway, we do not have the value for x3 in the k plus 1 iteration. We have to use the kth iteration, previous iteration. But understand the situation for the first variable. Even though we have evaluated the k plus 1th approximate value for x1, in the Gauss-Jacobi method, we have to use the kth approximate value only. Similarly, you look at xn. Suppose assume that we are evaluating the approximate solution in the k plus 1th iteration for n variable xn. You look at here. We need to use the kth iteration values only. But let me tell you, once we reach this position, once we are going to use this iteration, once we are going to evaluate this one, by this time, x1 is already evaluated in k plus 1, x2 is already evaluated in k plus 1, xn minus 1 is already evaluated in k plus 1. Even though the Gauss-Jacobi method uses its previous approximate solutions only. That is what the Gauss-Jacobi method. Do you understand the difference? Do you understand the process? Okay. Now, what is the benefit? Once we have already, so this is what the Gauss-Jacobi method does. Now the question is, can we improve? Is there any possibility of improvement for the Gauss-Jacobi method? Yes, of course. That is what we call the Gauss-Seidel method. That is what we call the Gauss-Seidel method. This is the another iteration method, and it is the last iteration method. We have only 2 iteration methods in this course. Okay, what about this method? It is actually an upgradation of Gauss-Jacobi method. Okay. What is the thing? What is the concept we have used here in the Gauss-Jacobi method? Even though for some variables the approximate solution is evaluated in the present iteration, but still we are using the approximate solution from the previous iteration. Okay, but now Gauss-Seidel method is not like this. What Gauss-Seidel method does, So assume that we are evaluating the k plus 1th iteration for the first variable. So according to the equations, earlier equations, it is what? Earlier equations, it is minus 1 upon a11 minus 1 upon a11 times a12 x2 in the kth iteration only, and plus 13 in the kth iteration again, and so on, plus a1n xn in the kth iteration again, and of course plus b1 upon a11. Okay, for the first variable, there is no much difference between the Gauss-Jacobi and the Gauss-Seidel. But look at the second variable, k plus 1th approximate solution for the second variable, it is minus 1 upon a22 times a12 times. What about here? X1 should be there now, but for X1 we have already evaluated. While evaluating this one, when we will evaluate after this one only, right? So once we reach this position, we have already, this is in our hand, the k plus 1th approximate solution for the first variable. Thus, it will use k plus 1 times x plus whether we do not have the x2 variable, because the second equation is used for to evaluate the approximate solution for the second variable. So after x1 we will have only x3. So that is, I think it is not a12, it is a21. Yeah, and a23 times x3. Now what about x3? We need to, whether we need, can we write like this one, k plus 1th iteration value in the x3? No. Why? Because we have not evaluated this one now. Only at this point we have evaluated only for the first variable. So remaining all, it will be values from the previous iteration only. Yes, 2n and xn in the kth iteration only, and plus, okay, it is b2 upon b2 upon a2 2. b2 upon a2. Now, so this will continue. So let me write it for two more equations. Then you will get an idea. You will understand it clearly. So assume that we are evaluating the k plus 1th approximate solution for the third variable. So according to this one, so it will be minus a33 times a31 times x1. This is we are doing the k plus 1th iteration, but the Gauss-Jacobi method uses kth iteration value for x1, but Gauss-Seidel method uses k plus 1th iteration value. Means in the same iteration, whatever it is already evaluated, immediately it will be used, and plus a32 times x2 in the k plus 1. Why? Because x2 is also evaluated just before this one. Plus x3 will not be there, so it will be x4. So x3 4 x4, but x4 in the k plus 1 iteration we have not evaluated, so it has to be in the kth iteration value, plus and so on a3n x kth iteration value of xn, and plus some constant, okay, that is there. So similarly, now when you are evaluating the for the last variable xn, what will happen? Minus 1 upon a n times a n1 times x1, but not in the kth iteration value, it is k plus 1th iteration, plus a n2 times x2 in the k plus 1th iteration value. Means the present iteration value will be used, and so on, plus a n minus 1 x n minus 1 from the same iteration, plus of course again some constant will be there. Okay, so this is what the Gauss-Seidel method uses, the algorithm. So in the, it is the, generally I have written in the here the so what basically here this method is called method of successive displacement. Method of successive displacement. And the Gauss-Jacobi method called method of method of simultaneous displacement. Simultaneous displacement means all the input values will be replaced together. But here it is not like that. In the Gauss-Seidel method, it is not like that. One after the other, one after the other, one after the other. At every step, in every iteration and in every step that we are going to replace the value. So in the metric form, what is the metric form for the Gauss-Seidel method? It is also same as you can see it. As you can see it, and the first thing is suppose if Ax is equal to B, if you write the matrix form, then obviously we have L plus D plus U times X is equal to B. Now here, what is going to happen here? D plus L times X is equal to minus Ux plus B. Why? Because as you can see here, from the second equation onwards, it is there for the k plus 1th iteration, and it is there for the k plus 1th iteration, 2 terms, and it is there for the k plus 1th iteration. We need to use it. Okay, so this is basically the formula for the Gauss-Seidel method. So the iteration formula is D plus L times k plus 1th iteration values given by minus U times kth iteration value plus B. And more generally, what we can do it, multiply both the sides with inverse of D plus L. So what we will get, the iteration k plus 1th iteration values is actually given by minus D plus L times inverse of the D plus L times U times k iteration values from the k plus B. Sorry, not only B, it is D plus L inverse times B. Now again, what we are doing here, we are multiplying both the sets. We are assuming that D plus L inverse exists. What is, by the way, D plus L? Suppose if this is A, what is D plus L? L is the lower triangle, strictly lower triangular, and D means including the diagonal. We are adding that one. So basically, it is a lower triangular metric. It is basically a lower triangular metric. What is the this is what D plus L. This is D plus L. So what is the determinant? It is a lower triangular metric. So determinant is nothing but the product of the diagonal entries. So product of the diagonal entries should not be 0, which means every entry in the diagonal should not be 0. All the elements of the diagonal on the principal diagonal should be non-zero. So that is what the same method, the same assumption we should also make. In fact, as you can see, we are dividing with A11, A22, A33, and so on, ANN. So the metric should be rearranged so that the principal diagonal elementaries are non-zero. Okay, so this is the method, and whatever the previous problem is there, the metric, the Ax is equal to B, we have started, right? Ax is equal to B. So you do it for using the Gauss-Seidel iteration method. Okay, and take it as an exercise and come up with both the solutions for the Gauss-Jacobi method and Gauss-Seidel method also. Okay, so that is where I'll wind up this section for today. We will meet in the next section. So as I said, 2 more sections, this unit will be completed. But you need to do a lot of practice for this iteration methods, not only for the iteration methods and for the elimination methods also. Okay, if you have any doubts, you are most welcome. You are welcome to ask any questions now. Thank you all.